Hello, my name is Dmitry Chedaev. I'm a program manager in Microsoft Dynamics NAV team. In this video, I'm going to explain how you can prepare and run Upgrade Toolkit Step 2 in Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2015. Please note that this is the second video in the series of upgrade videos, so I would strongly recommend you to download and watch Upgrade Toolkit Step 1 video, which is already available in the readiness library for Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2015. At the end of this video, you will learn how you can use upgrade code units to run the logic which is normally executed in the second phase of the upgrade project. You will also learn which new features and capabilities we added to the product to make sure that you can run the upgrade much faster with less effort and track its progress all the way through. Just like in the previous video, we'll go through 3 simple steps. First, I will explain the purpose of the Upgrade Toolkit Step 2. Second, I will explain how to build the Upgrade Toolkit Step 2 in Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2015 development environment. And finally, I will demonstrate how to run the Upgrade Toolkit Step 2 from the development environment. Data upgrade consists of 2 stages, 2 steps. Upgrade Toolkit Step 1 is performed to make sure that the data from the elements that you are going to change in the new version is either saved in the upgrade tables or removed from these elements, from tables or fields. After that, you would normally perform the conversion of the database to make sure that it is compatible with the new version of the application. And the next step, that's where you run Upgrade Toolkit Step 2. So normally in this step, you would run a set of functions which would check the data if it's ready to be upgraded. So there would be a few upgrade per condition functions. And you would run a set of other functions which would execute custom data upgrade code, or functions which will move data from the upgrade tables to the new destination tables. And of course, Upgrade Toolkit Step 2 should be performed for all companies within the database. As we learned from the Upgrade Toolkit Step 1 video, Upgrade Toolkit Step 1 logic resides within an upgrade code unit. You use functions of a specific type, table sync setup, to define the instructions for the server for how to handle data during the schema synchronization. Within exactly the same code unit, you can have a set of other functions which would contain the logic for executing Upgrade Toolkit Step 2. For instance, you can have a set of functions which would define your precondition checks. They will be marked with a specific type called check precondition. And you would also have a set of functions marked with upgrade type. These are the functions which will contain the logic to be executed within the Upgrade Toolkit Step 2. Once again, both Upgrade Toolkit Step 1 and Upgrade Toolkit Step 2 can naturally coexist within the same upgrade code unit. And of course, the best way to demonstrate this would be to switch to the development environment. And that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. So let me jump out of the PowerPoint environment into the development environment. And here you can see the example that we were looking at in our Upgrade Toolkit Step 1 video. So one of the examples we used back then was to delete some data from the cost center table, namely the comment field was deleted from this table, and the data from it was saved in the upgrade cost center table. So let's just run it to verify that the data was moved correctly in terms of execution Upgrade Toolkit Step 1. And of course it did. So here I have all the comments from the cost center table stored in my upgrade table. Now the task of the Upgrade Toolkit Step 2 is to move that data from the upgrade table into its new destination, for instance into the comment line table. To implement this scenario, I need to go into the same upgrade code unit which I designed for running Upgrade Toolkit Step 1, and I'm going to add a couple of functions to it, which I already did preparing for this demo. So let me just collapse this view, and you can see that I have on top of the function that we looked at in our first video, I have several other functions. So I've got one which is marked as check precondition function and 5 functions marked with upgrade type. I can look into the function properties and you can see that check comment line is marked with function type check precondition and other functions are marked with function type upgrade. Aside from this property, function type, these are absolutely normal CIL functions as you know them for years. So they have no specific restrictions whatsoever. So they're exactly the same as you know them. It is important to mention though that they have to be global functions. So they shouldn't be local to this code unit, but global. And you can, as I said, implement any code within these functions as you want. For this example, I prepared, for instance, a block of code that checks the precondition for the upgrade toolkit step 1, namely I go through the command line table and make sure that there are no records with a table name cost center. So absolutely a straightforward example. And this is the classic example of the code which you would normally execute in upgrade toolkit step 2 phase. Namely, iterating through the list of upgrade cost center records and moving the data from that table into the command line table. Classic example of migrating the data. On top of that, I have created 4 other upgrade functions which will update sales orders, sales invoices, purchase orders, basically adjusting the data in these tables to fit to the requirements of the new application. So it doesn't really matter which code is in these functions. Let's say that they are upgrade functions. And that's it. This is how you design upgrade toolkit step 2. You basically create an upgrade code unit or use the existing upgrade code unit and add functions of check precondition type if you have to check for any preconditions. And you add functions which will upgrade your tables, just like you would do it in the past. Now the difference comes when you have to run this code unit, when you have to execute these functions. So let me demonstrate you a couple of ways of how you can do this. In NEV 2015, we've added a specialized menu item into the Tools menu, which can call data upgrade. So I can go into that menu and say Start, and it will come up with the confirmation dialog, to which I will, of course, agree. And there I have a small dialog with a few options, which I can use to define how do I want to run my upgrade methods. What this action will do, it will find all upgrade code units in my application, and they can be one or they can be several upgrade code units, doesn't matter. It will find all upgrade code units, and it will find all methods marked as check precondition and upgrade, and it will execute them. Now the magic comes at the point where we say how we execute them. And in NEV 2015 we have 2 options for running these methods. You can run them in serial, just like you would do in the past, meaning that NEV server will open each company in this database. And by the way, for the sake of this example, I've got 6 companies in this database. So it will open each company one by one, and within each company it will run first check precondition methods, all of the check precondition methods you have defined in upgrade code units. Then, once they all completed successfully, it would run all upgrade methods within the upgrade code units. And it would repeat this process for all companies inside of this database. So let me just go ahead and hit OK button to show you how it will look. So the system pops up with the data upgrade dialog, and now it is looping through my 6 companies, executing check precondition methods first, and then upgrade methods second for each and every company. I'm back with my cup of hot coffee and I can see that it is still running the upgrade process, and it's now on 83%, just about to finish. So I selected the serial execution mode, meaning that the program would run it in serial, basically, one company after another, one method after another. So this is done. So the upgrade process is now completed. We can close the status bar, and Upgrade Toolkit Step 2 executed. So I didn't have to open any company to run this code unit within that company. It just executed all of them in serial, one after another. And that took a little bit of time. Now, you would wonder, how can you see the actual progress and what happened within this upgrade run? And this would be a very fair question to ask. To get a full insight into what has happened during this upgrade run, you have to use PowerShell. So let me switch to my favorite integrated scripted environment. And here you can see that I've imported the nav administration tool, which comes with NAV 2015. When we execute data upgrade, the state of the upgrade is stored in memory on the server instance which has executed the upgrade. So I can query this instance, in my case Dynamics NAV 80, for the detailed state of the upgrade process. And I can query it in several different ways. For instance, I can use format table, and the output will look somewhat like this. So here's a good overview of the process. Look, it's been through all of my 6 companies, A, B, C, D, E, and limited, and all of the functions were executed within the same session. So basically it was running all of these methods across the functions, across the companies one by one. And you can see that by the start time. So when the first one would complete, it would move into the second one, and so on and so on and so on. So this process took a little bit of time, and luckily in the end I didn't get any errors. So upgrade process was completed in the serial fashion. So let me show you a slightly different experience that you can get in NAV 2015. And for that, just to make it fair, I would like to restore the old database to the point before running Upgrade Toolkit Step 2. So just bear with me for a second. I will use exactly the same window. I will stop my server instance, and I will restore the database. That's how easy it is with PowerShell tools. Oh yes, of course, it is easy when you know what you're doing. In my case, NAV development environment is still running in the background, so it is holding the database and I cannot restore it. So now I close the development environment, back to PowerShell, run this snippet again, and now my database is restored. So now we are at the point where I haven't ran my Upgrade Toolkit Step 2 yet. And I will start the server. And as I'm doing that, now I've started the server, my tenant is mounted in the mounted mode. So I will make sure that the schema synchronization is up to date. There's nothing to synchronize, so everything is good to go. And now I will move back to the development environment. There we go. And I will run the data upgrade once again. Now remember that I've just restored the database, so I'm back to the original point. I will go to the Tools, Data Upgrade, Start, confirm the question, and this time around I will run the upgrade in parallel. So let's see what difference this will make. Now there is a little bit of a warm-up time, so you can see that the process is kicking in, and I'm already at 20%, and I'm recording this live, so you can see the progress as it goes. And in short while it's 40%, 60, rapidly moving up. Remember, I've got 5 methods executing across 6 companies in this database. 80%, 83, nearly there, done. So let's go back into the PowerShell and examine the results of running this script. For that, I will use exactly the same output. So the commandlet called get NAV data upgrade, and I will use a different way to output this data. I will use out grid view for this matter. So we'll just hit F8, and let's take a look at the output of my data upgrade. So there are a couple of things to pay attention to here. Now, first thing you might notice is session ID. Session ID is different for each method, each function within the upgrade code unit. That means that we are running these methods in parallel with each other and in parallel across all companies within this database. So it's like having 30 employees doing this upgrade for you simultaneously across 6 companies. Now, how fantastic is that? Look at the start time. So they all start at precisely 3:06:05 p.m. So these all functions started simultaneously, and there's the duration of each session, and you can see the execution time it took to run each method within each company. And they all completed without any errors. So that's the difference that the parallel execution can bring into your environment. So that's one of the new features in NAV 2015, ability to run upgrade methods across all companies in parallel. Now let me show you a few more cool things we introduced in NAV 2015 for running the data upgrade. For that, I will need to restore the database once again. Alright, start the database, start the server, sync, everything is fine. And I need to introduce a few errors in the data to make sure that the data upgrade would fail executing one of the methods. And that should be quite easy. So I will start the development environment. Oh, sorry, the Windows client. And one of my methods is dealing with sales orders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the customers and block one of the customer which is involved in this method. So I'm going to block this. So now I'm not able to update my sales orders because the customer used for this order is blocked. So just some synthetic example of a failure. Alright, so let me just go back into the development environment, and I'm going to go into Tools, Data Upgrade, Start, answer yes to the confirmation dialog, and of course I will run it in parallel. But this time I will tick a check mark called Continue on Error. So let's see what difference this one will do for me. So the process kicks in and the upgrade starts. It is done, and the state of the data upgrade is now not completed but suspended. So let's follow the advice that is written in the detailed state and see the status of the upgrade methods. And you can see that it has finished by 96%, so it's not completely done. So I'm going to close this window and go back to the PowerShell and look at the output of the upgrade. So let me see what happened here. So it looks like one method in one company, Kronos International, failed to execute because I was not able to create a document for customer 20,000 because it was blocked. So that's exactly what I did to that customer. But look at the other methods. So all other methods were executed, and only the one that has failed is pending resume. What that actually means is that once you select a check mark, continue on error, you will allow all upgrade methods in all companies to execute, and if some of the methods fail, you are able to resume this process on the next run. So you are able to fix the problem and resume the upgrade. So let's see how this is done. I will close this window and start the Windows client. So let's say that this is my way of fixing the error. I realized what happened and now I want to fix it. I go into my list of customers, find the customer, and remove the blocking flag. So now the data should be okay, and now I can go back to the development environment, say Tools, Data Upgrade, Resume. And you can see that I have two options. I can either resume all methods or resume a specific method within a specific code unit or specific company. For the sake of this example, I will just say resume all. And let's see what effect it will do. It will close. So 96%, 100% done. So instead of rerunning all the 30 methods that I had there in the upgrade code unit across 6 companies, it only executed the remaining method, which was pending upgrade. So now the process is complete, and I can go back to the PowerShell to see the output of the data upgrade. You can see that all methods are executed and no errors were detected. So this demonstrates two new concepts in NEV 2015, that you are able to set up the system to stop at first error, or you can allow the system to execute all upgrade methods, then fix those failing ones and resume them. This can be very beneficial when upgrade methods execute for a very, very long time, and you, instead of going back and starting the process all over, you can fix these failing methods and resume only those which failed, keeping the other ones as completed. And to complete this demo, let me just say something else. So you most certainly have access to all of the data upgrade functions from PowerShell. If you import NEV administration tool commandlets, which we ship with NEV 2015, you get a full set of commandlets to run data upgrade. For instance, start NEV data upgrade will start the data upgrade process using a specific server instance. You can define different execution modes, parallel, serial. You can define continue on error flag if you want to. You can use get NEV data upgrade commandlet to see the progress of data upgrade as a progress bar, or to request detailed view of the upgrade status. And you can output this status into grid view or table view. So it's completely up to you. You also have a commandlet to resume the data upgrade or to stop the data upgrade. So you have full PowerShell support for running this process. So now let me go back into my PowerPoint and recap what we've just been through. Now, as I explained, you have two execution modes for running the data upgrade. And we thought it would be important to support the old style of running the upgrade, which is serial mode. And we also introducing a new way of running upgrade, which is running it in parallel. So that should give you a substantial performance optimization when running the data upgrade. We also execute the data upgrade in asynchronous fashion, so you can run it for multiple tenants in parallel too. It's important to mention that when you use the capability to run all of these functions in parallel, each using its own system session, you have to design these functions so that they are independent of each other and they are not locking each other, and they are not expecting any particular order of execution because they are run in parallel. So you can definitely play with the functions within the upgrade code unit and use different patterns to define which functions are executed in parallel and which are executed sequentially and in specific order. For instance, if you need two functions to be executed one after another, like upgrade sales header and then upgrade sales line, what you can do, you can create two normal functions called upgrade sales header and upgrade sales line, and then call them in the required order from the upgrade function. Since NAV server is only executing upgrade functions, it will call these two functions in the required order, just like it is defined. Next thing, it is possible to resume the upgrade process. It is important to mention that when the error happens, and at this point of time some of the functions have already completed, they will remain completed. And the functions which failed and the ones which have not completed yet will be rolled back so that you can resume that later after you have fixed the error. So that's a very, very nice feature. You don't have to rerun all of your functions, only the ones which haven't completed by the time when upgrade failed, and the failed ones. You can also choose whether you want to continue on error or stop at first error. So you can configure the system to act in this way, so that all of the functions which can execute successfully, they will execute successfully, and you would only have to fix the failed ones and resume them once they are fixed. So running upgrade in NAV 2015 way will increase the data upgrade performance, because we are executing upgrade functions in parallel across all companies using separate system sessions. So we use all of the available machine resources for that. We provide better troubleshooting capabilities, so you can collect all the errors at once instead of having to run upgrade multiple times and catch errors one by one. And it also provides you with a complete overview of the progress, so you can see the time it took to run the data upgrade, and you can plan the execution time for the customers accordingly. I hope you enjoyed this second video of our upgrade series. Thank you for watching and have a great day.